Good morning. Good morning. I'm Mary Ellen Morgan, your sabbatical minister. And as you can tell, I'm not at all excited about that. I use the pronoun she, her, hers. I'm going to ask you to join me in a moment of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life and love, we call on you to help us pay attention to our breath, to this moment, to the love that flows within and among us. This congregation is so precious. May we always know we have a home here where we can be together. Will you join me in a moment of silence?
So I'm skeptical of fortune telling in general, but I see fortune cookies as a proud San Francisco tradition. They originated in a Japanese restaurant in Golden Gate Park in 1908, invented by the restaurateur there as a I hate to say gimmick because it's a nice thing that people enjoy, but it was a part of Japanese restaurants, was taken up by other Japanese restaurants, but then became part of Chinese restaurants, unfortunately, during the Japanese internment during World War II. But now they've become adopted by Chinese restaurants all over the US, although not in China. Despite my skepticism of what my wife calls woo-woo things like fortunes and astrology, though I'm also aware of how powerful even these small bits of belief can be. We're only scratching the surface about how the brain really operates. So even if I might have trouble believing in a cookie or a horoscope, I can respect that maybe someone else who does believe in those may be able to see real patterns that I don't. Since dealing with some emotional troubles last year, I've been doing EMDR therapy, which centers on just moving your eyes left and right, watching a light on a little machine that helps process traumatic memories. And if something as simple as just looking left and right can have profound effects on the inner mind, I'm more convinced than ever that there are possibilities which may be accessed by belief and emotion. Today's choir song talks about the rhythm of life, when our daily lives are too often caught up in what we think of as necessities and not about beauty and meaning. But with our spiritual practices, we can change what that rhythm is. And especially with community, we can change the rhythm of our lives.
One of our revered longtime UU ministers died last month. The Reverend Meg Barnhouse led churches in South Carolina and more recently our Austin, Texas congregation. In honor of her passing, I pulled out the book she published of her essays. Did I say that out loud? And I reread one of my favorites, Good Fortune. In this essay, she mused about what would happen if we really received good fortunes in our fortune cookies. How would that change our perspective? Meg was looking at what she considered lame fortunes like, where there's a will, there's a way, which is not really a fortune at all. Well, I happened to order 2 meals from a local Chinese restaurant last week and got 2 fortune cookies. The first one said, "Home is where the heart is, remember that." Why was I being scolded by a fortune cookie? But the other one was intriguing. It said, "Your intuition will guide you in August." Now that one really got my attention because my contract with you is up in August. and I will be looking for new work. Meg thought it would be interesting to have better fortunes. Here are her words, quote, "If I owned a fortune cookie company, I would make the fortunes evocative, something to excite the imagination, shine a light on new possibilities so that people's perspectives would shift after their meal. I might put in something like, 'You will see 3 beautiful things tomorrow.' Then the whole next day, the person would have their eyes open, looking for beauty. They would ask themselves, what is beauty? Is that tree a beautiful thing? This hand of mine? The glimpse of my miraculous eye in the rearview mirror that enables such beauties to pour into my heart. Maybe I would write, 7 people love you madly.' What would that make of your next several days? Would you look at each of your friends with a secret smile? Are you one of them?" She also talked about the messages we've received from other people, ones that have kept us from moving forward and believing the toxic ideas that have unfortunately taken root within us. You are just like your father. Or why are you even trying? You never succeeded before. Or, and this is one that's my favorite, aren't you a little old for that? Oh, that one I feel personally. We always think of good fortune as winning a lot of money from out of nowhere, owning a big house, or being in a good relationship. But as my father used to say, yeah, he was lucky. He worked hard and made his own luck. Our view of good fortune changes as we age. When I was younger, it revolved around money and things. Now that I'm older, it centers on health, relationships with good friends and family, time to enjoy the things I love to do, and taking the time to appreciate the beauty all around me, especially here in Northern California. Can you turn a corner here and not see something just gorgeous? Really. Now, I'm not naive. I know that life can be incredibly hard and heartbreaking, and that can happen even if you work at staying positive and upbeat. And I know that following a fortune cookie smacks of superstition, as though some spirit out in the ethers is pulling the levers to bestow grace on some and not others. For those of us too practical for that, I still think that changing our perspective can be so uplifting and fun. When was the last time we looked to have fun? When I had an acting class, I used to have my students do this meditation. I'd have them close their eyes and picture themselves on a precipice overlooking a beautiful valley with mountains in the background. What do you see? What's there? What surprises you? Then I'd ask them, in their meditation, to turn their head to the right. What's over there? Then we would discuss it after the meditation. They'd be surprised at what they saw just by changing their perspective. Before my parents would leave to go out with their group of friends on a Saturday night, my father would say, "We are going to have the best time tonight." And guess what? They did. Every single time. The next morning, he'd be so excited to say, "Oh, honey, we had the best time last night. Guess what happened?" He decided, even before they went out, that the evening was going to be great. Do we do that? Or do we routinely show up not expecting anything in particular? So I have a challenge for you for the rest of March. Say yes to fun. Expect great things. Change your perspective. I'll send you off this morning with some good fortunes for you to remember and practice. You will see two beautiful things every day. 3 people love you madly. Figure out who. And you will figure out something this week. Have fun with it. I promise you, this is a spiritual practice, and it will uplift you and your days. To the glory of life.